Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Nancy and we are continuing to play with the Global Adventures Part 2 release from Catherine Pooler Designs. I'm going to be using again the Parasols and Pagodas 6x6 pattern paper. You get 24 sheets, 8 different designs. This is a heavy-duty 80-pound cardstock. It is printed on one side, and it tells you here what are the coordinating colors of Catherine Pooler Design ink. So you have Rouge, Polished, Mandarin Spice, Flame, Lemongrass, Bayberry, Skylight, Juniper Mist, and Kyoto Sequin Mix. And these are beautiful pattern papers. They have this Asian Japanese theme going on. There we have the lanterns. There's your pagoda or parasols. There's some bamboo. And I've been having a lot of fun creating with this paper. We're also going to be using the lantern stamp and die set. So this is a high quality photopolymer clear stamp set. You have a couple of different lanterns, different cords to hold them, and then some sentiments. Let the festivities begin, sending you good luck. Let's celebrate good times. And then of course you have the matching dies if you wanted to opt to get those. The card we're going to make today is this card here. It's going to be fairly simple to do. It looks more complicated than it is, but follow along and you'll see how easy it is to make. So the first thing we need to do is we need to stamp out our elements here. So we're going to stamp out our 3 lanterns. We are also going to be doing some heat embossing and some die cutting. I'm just going to bring in a piece of paper here. And I'm going to start with, this one is our most solid one. And I did this one on pattern cardstock. So I do have some extra pieces of pattern cardstock here. And I think for this one, we're going to stamp it out on this leftover red pattern paper. I'm going to use the embossing pad from Wow. Thoroughly ink up my stamp. And before I do that, I'm going to use my anti-static powder tool. So to use this, it has kaolin clay in the bottom here. And to refill that, you would just unscrew this, put your clay, lift that piece up, put your clay in there, and then you just kind of open and close this a few times, and what will happen is the clay will travel down. It's a very softly milled clay, almost like a powder, and you can see it starts to come through the brush there. And then you would just sprinkle that on there, pull that back up, and put your lid on and close that. Okay, and now we're going to be able to stamp our lantern. And I want a good solid image on this one. And for this one, we're going to do heat embossing with the Wow Halo embossing powder because the pattern paper is very pretty. We don't want to lose that image. Just want to make it a little glittery. And there you can see that's what it's going to look like when we get the heat tool on it. And I'm going to let my heat gun warm up just a second before we bring it to the paper. Now, while we're waiting for that to warm up, the second one I'm going to get ready is this lantern here. So let me clean this one off. I'll have this one ready to go. All right, so that one we're just going to let cool down. We're going to stamp this lantern in Mandarin Spice. Nice deep dark orange. Okay, and then for the last one, we're actually not going to stamp the lantern. We're just going to die cut it. But I wanted it to be in a dark blue, so we're going to take Juniper Mist ink, and we're basically going to swipe it direct to paper here. So I have this nice dark blue navy coverage there. We're going to give that just a second to dry. Okay, while we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to grab the coordinating dies. We have this die. We have this die, and we want the rounded die. Okay, now we can start cutting this one out. And I'm just going to run this through my Gemini Junior, but you would use whatever die cutting system you have. And secure it with a little bit of washi tape. I know it's hard for you guys to see, but I can see that embossing powder and where my die needs to cut that out. Okay, I'm going to run these through real quick. Now for this one, I want to do some stamping and heat embossing before I cut it out. So on this guy, again, I'm going to bring my anti-static tool in. My ink should be dry enough now. And I want to bring in one of the sentiments. So let's do sending you good luck. And for this one, we are going to heat emboss in the gold embossing powder from Wow. And this one's called Golden Glow. Yep, wasn't dry enough. Let's give that a second, try to brush some of that off. All right, so if this ever happens, I'm actually going to dust off all of the embossing powder. I'm going to set that aside just for a second to dry a little longer. We'll come back to it. And we'll continue moving on. It just means that that ink wasn't dried all the way in the background. All right, so for our card, it's going to be very simple to assemble. I have my card base here. This is heavy duty cardstock. I believe it's 120 pound weight. I have two little cutout lanterns here. Okay, and I have some gold cord out of my stash. You probably have some kind of thread or something you can use. We're going to start setting up our card base. So this is a piece of 5.5 by 4.25 card base. And this is basically going to be the bottom of our card. All right. But I wanted it to be kind of V-shaped angle here. So I'm just going to take my paper trimmer and I'm just going to, honestly guys, just eyeball it from this top corner. Kind of go down at a weird angle. And then go to the other corner. Let's see where my slit is. So I can see my slit is right here. And I'm just going to cut right across to that slit. So I can feel it's right there. So I don't want this to be perfectly symmetrical. I'm not doing any kind of measuring. I am just cutting through this paper. And I'm just going to take scissors and trim that right on the corner there. See that? All right. And you always want to save these small pieces because you can cut additional origami pieces or lanterns out of these. So don't throw those out. Then I have another piece of scrap paper here. And because this is not in any particular direction, I don't have to use it like this. I can go sideways like this. I know that this is the top of my card to be 5.5 by 4.25. So this will be the top of my card. So I will cut that down in just a moment. I'm going to glue it in place. So you'll see it's going to come together like this. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is glue this top portion on. And then, like I said, I will cut that excess off. I'm going to go right to the top of my card there. Now, if you wanted to jazz this up a little bit more, you could go in and add a sliver of some gold or silver cardstock as well. Because I'm using the gold thread, I'm not adding any additional gold paper onto here. And then we can trim this down. Okay, so there is our card base. Now there are some accent pieces if you wanted to accentuate the stamps, like on this one. I think there was some leaves that I had stamped out. We can, here they are. Add that in there. Go. And again, you can choose to embellish it as much or as little as you want. Okay, let's check to see if our lantern is dry enough now to redo. So the outside should be dry enough, and now the inside should still be wet enough to pick up that embossing. Nope, it's not dry enough yet. Okay, so like I said, we'll try to knock some of that off, and we'll come back to it. If I have to redo it, we'll redo it. It's okay. It's not a problem. In the meantime, we will continue to work on our lanterns here. So what I did was grabbed my lanterns, and I basically just wrapped gold string around them, put them in different positions. Okay, I'm going to do this. And then the round one will go down here with the sentiment. And then just glued them and put some foam tape on them. So let me grab some foam tape here. know if I want the patterned one up there or if I want this one up there. I guess I like it better that way. Okay, and then we'll put the other one over here. So this one's gonna go down first. And I just took some of this gold cord and I took a little piece of tape, I believe. A little Scotch tape. Or maybe I put it under the foam tape. That might have been what I did. There we go. And I just kind of started to wrap it around just a few times. And it stuck to the foam tape. And then I cut enough off to wrap it underneath so that it would almost tie itself off. And then went upwards with it. And then later on, I secured this with glue underneath. So I don't need the tape on this one. And then we're going to remove our backing off of here. And this one's kind of in the middle of the card. Right there. And it, like I said, it's pretty much tied off in the back. If you wanted to put that piece of tape on there to make sure that is in the middle, you could do that. Like I said, I did go back after everything was tied, and then I put glue on the front here to make sure that everything stayed in place. So that didn't pop off of there like that. Then just wrapped it around the back and put a little piece of Scotch tape on the back. And I will go back and secure all of these, cut them down so that there's just a little bit of tape at the top there. And then go in here and take this fine tip glue and put that in between the strands of the thread, and that will hold all of that in place then. All right, so let's go on to this guy. Same kind of thing. Started with a little end piece down the back of the foam tape, just like that. And then wrapped it around a few times. And then cut this to the length that I thought that I needed it to be. Took the end, tucked it underneath here. Try not to get it stuck on the foam tape. Of course, it's easier when you're not filming, right? Where are my little reverse tweezers? Here we go. We'll go this way and we'll grab it. No, 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 don't entangle. This is where it helps to like have an extra pair of hands. Okay, here we go. I got it. I'm gonna pull this up through here. We're gonna put Slide that back down. I got it. I got it. I got it, you guys. Promise I got it. It's really a lot easier if you wait to put the foam tape at the end, Nancy. Okay, here we go. All right. There we go. And then this one we put right here. Oh, I didn't even need that much cord. All right, let's see if I can wrap this one more time just so it looks better. And then again, just putting the glue down with the fine tip. It will hold it in place. I'm going to use my tweezers to hold that on there like that. So that glue dries, and then once that dries, then I will tuck this towards the top of the card. Okay. It's really not that hard. It's just hard when you put the tape down first. Wait to put your foam tape on until the end. So I'm going to let that glue dry a second. I think we should go back and check this piece. Should be plenty warm enough by now. I'm going to knock all of this off. Okay, we're going to dry this with the heat tool. Here's the thing with embossing pads. They stay sticky for a very long time, so I don't need to restamp this. Oh, maybe I do need to restamp it. I think it's best if I start over. Let's try that again. I'm going to do my embossing anti-static tool on the back. We're just flipping the paper over. Then we're going to go direct to paper again. Maybe not quite as much ink this time. I'm going to heat this to dry. All right, I'm going to go back over it with the anti-static tool. Now we're going to stamp it. Ta-da! Okay. Now we're going to do our heat embossing. Still sticking. Wow, this blue ink is just super wet. All right, I'm going to try to knock off as much as I can here so we still get a nice clean image. All right, let's see how this does. If there's too much gold, we might have to try something else. not too hateful. There's a little bit extra in there. We can scrape that off. That's not a problem. Now, the question is, why didn't I just stamp it on pattern paper? Because I didn't want the pattern paper to take away from the design of the sentiment. If I would have done it on pattern paper, you would have lost that. So let's run this through the die cutting machine now. And we're going to use the round lantern. I think the larger side goes on the bottom. Guess I could have heat embossed it first and then inked it. That probably would have been the best thing to do. Yeah, let's try that. You guys know I'm not going to give up till I get this to look nice. Actually, I wonder how this side's doing. Okay, so this side is dry, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stamp it first, I'm going to heat emboss it, and then we'll come back and we'll do the ink blending over top of it. That theoretically should work. Yeah, much better. No excess there. All right, that looks fabulous. Let's put this away. Sometimes you just got to do things in a different order than you would normally do them in to get them to work. All right, now I'm going to do the ink blending and then cut it out. Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks way better than the last time with all the little boo-boos I had. Okay, now we're going to cut this guy out. Just like the others, I'm going to wrap some cord on him. Okay, which part is the bottom? The wider part? Okay, so that is the bottom. The angled part is the bottom. Don't worry about that ink, it will even itself out. Okay. Okay, now that's all die cut. That'll go down here. Just need to run this through here, so we'll do that. And I'll show you the proper way to do this now without getting stuck all over the foam tape. So you let that, you put your ribbon on the back, and you put your little piece of tape on there to hold it in place while you wrap the top. And I go around about 3-4 times cut my cord as long as, again, that I think I'm going to need it. You should probably measure so you're not wasting. Then I'm going to loop this. Now, if there's no foam tape in the way, right up through here. See how easy that is that time? And as it goes through, it will go up, and it kind of ties everything in place, and it'll go up through the center. So it will hold your wrapped gold thread in place, but also it loops up through the center there. See that? So now I can put my foam tape on, and it will stay in place in the right spot. So I made the mistake of putting the foam tape on too early. The other one. And now I'm going to put foam tape over top of that. And I'm going to cut off all my threads, tape them to the top, and I'll be back with the finished card for you guys. Okay, guys, here's my finished card. Again, we just used the pattern paper from Parasols and Pagodas. And the stamp set we use is the Lantern Festival with the matching dies. The inks that we used today were Juniper Mist and Mandarin Spice. And the embossing powders that we brought in were Halo and Golden Glow, both by Wow Embossing Powder. And you can pick all of these things up at Catherine Pooler Designs. I will link everything down below for you. I hope you had fun watching me struggle through this card. Again, if you don't want to deal with the cord, that's fine. There's some beautiful tapestry that you can add on here, and you can heat emboss these in gold as well and make a chain, so you don't have to do it the way that I actually did it. There's a beautiful tassel there, but it's a wonderful stamp set. I love the sentiments that go with it. Coordinates beautifully with the pattern paper, and again, this is part of the brand new release from Catherine Pooler Designs, and it is called Global Adventures Part 2. So I hope you go check that out. I'll have another video posted where I use the let me show. Here we go. So I showed how to make this card. I'll link that video at the end for you. And that was using the brand new Origami Cheers stamp set. So a lot of fun designs coming out with this release. You want to go check them all out. If you have any questions, post them down below. In the description will be the links if you want to purchase any of these items to make your own fun cards. Thanks for watching, and keep on stamping. Bye, guys.